what is your insight into our study so far? What is it that you're picking up? What is this whole book, the 5 things we cannot change, and the various chapters on the inside, what are they pointing to? What is it pointing to? Yes.
I don't know if this I like how, through his own life, he's found specific, relevant ways that work.
Well, that's true. But what are the relevant ways? What?
Within those 5.
Okay.
It rather than him going somewhere else, those 5 are kind of unique, and I haven't heard those. I've heard him expressed in different ways, but it's interesting just a fellow human being coming up, keeping the essence and the substance through his own experience, and coming up with things that were kind of pertinent and unique. It's just nice, yeah.
Okay. Well, remember the Buddha was a fellow human being.
Right.
And all of the things that he has in this book, the basis is what was spoken many years ago.
Yeah, and to kind of put it in your own words without losing that.
Well,
you're losing some of it, but yeah.
Yeah, he didn't put it in his own words, so he put it in the words of psychobabble. You know, but it made it contemporary, and so for you and I and for others, let's see, I don't see Phyllis today, but there's something in our opinion that makes it relevant when we feel it's contemporary. You know, we feel, that was an old geezer who lived, 1,000 years ago. Well, the world was different then, life was different then, but this is awesome. This is today's words. This is today's stuff. But as true as that is, no, I'm not looking for that. It was something else. Michelle? Okay. So again, we've heard that for 2,600 years. That to be present without an agenda. In other words, to accept what's in the moment and not to want to change it is the answer. But what are we accepting? That's what I'm getting to. What is this and the Dharma and everything else? What is it really pointing to? It's pointing to our... Yes, Art?
The impermanence of everything.
Well, that's true. That's true. That is the truth. But how do we commingle with that impermanence? So what we're, in my opinion, what he is really delivering and what the Buddha really delivered and what all of the other enlightened masters really delivered, not that he's an enlightened master, but as I agree with John, he brought it in a perspective that's contemporary. But it's all about state of mind. That's what they're talking about. I mean, this whole chapter, or the major part of the chapter in things don't go according to plan, life isn't always fair. He talks about parenting. He talks about the influence of parenting, whether it be loving and wrapping a person up and protecting them, or whether it be abandoning them from the sense of not giving them any love. what it still does is develop our state of mind as to how then we commingle with our own reality. So, the easiest way for me is to always remember that my state of mind is what brings me either my peace or my restlessness in the moment. And that I have the ability and the capacity to alter that state of mind, because that state of mind is created by my past experiences. See, and of course that's all bundled into perception. And we've talked about perception with pain and anger and other things. But it all comes from there. It is not embedded in the moment of reality, but our state of mind is what paints our moment of reality. And when we see those footprints, we can always go, oh, I don't have to do this. And this is where acceptance and saying yes. Again, just another way of saying accept. To say yes to what is evident in the moment is the way to alter and change our relationship with the moment, and even change our feelings about the moment and our expressions about the moment. So again, when we think of it that way, then we also see it as a way to understand emptiness. Because if the moment were concrete and real and true, then no matter what we thought or did, it wouldn't change the moment. Yes, sir.
May I ask you to speak to a little bit the idea of agenda? Because you mentioned it a moment ago, and that's become a big word to me recently. Mm-hmm. And the awareness, the self-awareness that I always have an agenda. And I mean, within reason, even if I woke up this morning and I said, well, today I'm not going to have an agenda, that's an agenda in and of itself.
That's true.
Can you help us parse that fine line between having some kind of an agenda and yet when life pushes back at us, we need to wake up and say, hold on.
Well, I the way I would phrase it would be that, as opposed to using the term agenda, which I do, because that connotates, or that brings up a certain wanting it to be the way that I planned it to be, that I would maybe perhaps using the word desire. Okay, for instance, you had a desire to come to Dharma today. So you got up and you shaved and you put your shoes on and brushed your teeth, and put your clothes on and all of those things. However, if you looked out the window and it was a snowstorm, you wouldn't be angry at the snowstorm. You would accept that, well, even though I had a plan, I've got to alter it now because of whatever is happening in the next moment. So I had a plan in this moment, but I'm not upset when in the next moment I cannot carry that plan out. An agenda sort of creates a rigidity. It's like, well, we got this agenda and we got to get this done, and no matter hell or high water, we're gonna give me a hammer, let me hit this nail. We're gonna make it work. Agenda, desire. So if you can use agenda as I use agenda in its softest terms, and it means that in the next moment, if I can't complete what it is that I plan to do, then I ask myself, what do I need to plan now for this? no suffering because I'm already adjusted to the adjustment or the change. I'm not fighting the change. The suffering is when we fight the change. Better? Okay. So to me, this is the deeper message or the common denominator. Oh no, it's not the common denominator. It's one of the messages under all of the blah blah that's in the book. When we talk about it's about getting to the bottom of things. Just like the question you asked about agenda. It's about getting to the bottom. It's not about taking home what I think it means, but actually discoursing on it and finding out what does it mean and how can I employ that. So there's a lot of talk in New Ageism about oneness or sameness. We're all one, But what does that mean? How are we all one? So for instance, when we identify ourselves as ourselves and you as you, we can see so many differences that it sort of destroys the concept of oneness. We've got different DNA, we've got different fingerprints, we've got different eye things, we've got different ideas about what brings us happiness and what brings the world happiness. We've got conservatives and liberals, we've got Caucasians and Africans, we've got Peruvians and Mexicans. When we look out at the world, we see all of these differences, which causes us to have a big issue about, well, how do I define or identify myself as the same as them when they're obviously different? There's gender, there's sexual preferences, there's all types of things that make us different. So how can I come up with a truth that all is the same? So the thing is, we've got to understand what we're talking about. So what is it? What can you identify as the same as? What do I have that is the same as you? Yes, Terry.
What I see when I ask myself that question is that we first of all spring from the same thing, and I'm not quite sure what that is.
So then you don't know what the sameness is then.
I don't know. I don't know what that that energy is that we all come from, and then we all inhabit the same place and time, and that is that in itself to me is a room for commonality.
Well, in your world, maybe everyone exists in the same place and time, but not in my world. Because where we are is where we think we are, and some people are in the future, some people are in the past. Very few people are right here, right now. Yes.
One commonality that I come up with is the just all the living beings here that just born and die. So in that destiny, we all just the same. And then one of the things that actually this oneness the concept that helped me was with the Chile Qigong, the 6 directions, when we think about sky and all that. So that, the more I practice, I use that in Tai Chi Chair, or now, even when I'm driving, or whatever I'm cooking or whatever, my being is just connected to infinite 6 direction.
Okay, how do you know you're connected?
I think that I projected myself that way, or imagined that way, or maybe now becoming a habit of feeling it. I don't know, but
How do you know you projected yourself?
how do I know? Because I sense that I am in that infinite space.
Okay, can you give me another word for sense?
Feeling.
Can you give me another word for feeling?
Awareness.
I like that word.
So it was interesting that I was when the higher brain living, that when the Dr. Cotton tried to give in to people that our physical self, gross self, and then the subtle body and unitary and all that, and then I'm like, people were asking, how do you know? So I'm going to giving this example of just myself. This is how myself felt just really in the world. So now when I see the trees or skies or mountains or whatever, just automatically I'm floating in that space connected. It's just, it's that, it's an awareness.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we can all experience the awareness of awareness. And that's our common. Everyone has that. Everyone can and should and has tasted being aware. I used to have a Sangha member that I haven't seen for a while, but his question was always, who is it that knows I'm watching TV? What is this awareness of me doing what I'm doing?
This observer has been, like from a childhood, I have an observer of that. So I always notice that it's like some kind of movie, some awareness here. But I think with this Chile Qigong, now that awareness expanded. Who's aware of this awareness, right? So I think it has a level of expanding. Then it's become very impersonal because this consciousness is just like.
So then this awareness that you're aware of, you are aware that it's everywhere.
Right. So that consciousness to me brings me the understanding of oneness, because it's for me, and then the other person also must have an observer, but then if we keep going with it, we're all going to be in the same conscious level. That's what I think of it.
Thank you. Okay. Unless anyone else has anything else to say, let's go to that space. Are you beginning to find a place in awareness? Are you beginning to reconnect with pure awareness as you sit and do your stuff? Is it still I am doing this, or is it just being this that's being done? Okay. So when you're focusing on breath, or on feeling, or on body, on thoughts, you realize that you're beginning to access this reality of awareness. You're being aware of something going on around you. And that awareness and that experience takes you beyond ego, beyond selfness. Because as you say, you know you're doing this, but then where's this awareness of me doing what I'm doing? So you're beyond, there's this portal that's beyond ego, beyond selfness, that you can just slide into. And as Terry said, and as Hunter said, that's where we all came from. And that's where everything came from. Okay. I would, and I always recommend that we start with one of the Brahma Viharas. Again, because there are so many people in the world that do not have awareness, that do not have a sense of their own innate ability to change reality, to bring happiness and peace to themselves, which then brings happiness and peace to the world. So there's a lot of people who are having a lot of problems today. I mean, just in Alabama, the struggle, the identification with this group or that group or this person or that person, the judgment. So, give them some love before you go into stillness. Because if we don't give others love, then there's no point in all of this. We might as well just sit home and eat potato chips. Thank you for coming.